Every year that passes, there is more and more clear evidence that Israel oppresses the Palestinians, dispossesses them, violates every basic civil and human rights of the Palestinians. That the essence of the Zionist project is to oppress the Palestinians because they are still there, despite the ethnic cleansing of 1948, and that the Israeli army and secret service and the police and the government, whoever is there, has to be busy every day in forcing millions of people to live a life they don't want. This is what Israel is all about from a Palestinian perspective. What Said used to say, Zionism was only bad news. There was nothing positive in this ideology that says Palestine is not for the Palestinians, it has to be a Jewish state. But this was translated more and more into the oppression of the Palestinians. And as the Palestinian resistance grew, the oppression became more cruel, more ruthless, more inhuman. What happened in the last year shouldn't have surprised anyone who saw how from 1948 you have these two parallel developments. The Palestinians become more and more resistant to the oppression, and the Israelis become more and more inhuman and cruel in their reaction. And that's what we have seen in the last year. And my question I asked in the last bit of my book, when all this information is there, the information that because of this most of the young people are here today, when all the information is there, it's not a complicated information. It's basic knowledge about people, millions of people, who cannot go to school, who cannot go to their work, can be imprisoned without trial. Their houses can be demolished. They can be executed at the will of the army. They can be expelled at the will of the government. When all this is so clear and transparent and known, especially in the age of the internet and the alternative media, how come Israel still has the immunity? How come it is still regarded the only democracy in the Middle East, when it's clearly an apartheid state, when it's clearly an occupying power, when it's clearly a colonizing power, it's clearly an ethnic cleansing power? And the book tries to understand, how does a lobby succeed in societies, and I especially chose Britain and the United States, but it would be true for Germany as well, societies that proud themselves of being democracies, where there is open information, there's no censorship, there is respect for human rights, there is respect for civil rights. How in these two societies, when the reality is so clearly in front of our eyes, they still, when they are in the government, when they are in the mainstream media, the mainstream academia, reject the reality. Either they claim that they don't know, which is not true, or they describe a reality that does not exist, but they find it more and more difficult because the number of people who are normal, who have a modicum of decency in them in the world, says, wait a minute, if we support human rights, if we support civil rights, if we are against oppression, if we are against colonialism, if we are against racism, of course we are siding with the Palestinians. What else can we do? We ask ourselves, why our politicians are not behaving like us? Why our academics do not behave like us? Why our journalists, I'm talking about the mainstream journal, I know there's some good journalists here today. Why are the journalists do not see it? They don't have eyes? They're not visiting the place? Is there another Palestine maybe that we don't know of? Yes, it comes back to lobbying and advocacy. And you have to understand, this lobbying machine is more than 100 years old. and has a lot of experience. I'm talking now in Britain and the United States, but I'm sure it's true about other parts where it's effective. It has 100 years of experience. It is working day and night for a cause, yes, an immoral cause, an unreasonable cause, and a cause that will not succeed in the end of the day, but nonetheless, they have a, they're not going to succeed. Unjust projects, in the end, I can tell you as an historian, do not succeed. Do not succeed.